Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have a dumb idea. You know what this dumb... Go ahead.
And I have ice cream.
Good for you, Glock.
God damn it, Glock.
Okay. So, I have had the brilliant idea that I would like to talk about the Kingdom Hearts timeline. Because, you know, we had Kingdom Hearts 3 at E3 showing off some really cool gameplay footage. We had D23 this a couple weekends ago that confirmed Big Hero 6 will be a world. And we have a D23 coming out in, or D23 in November with Kingdom Hearts 3 really cool information and maybe a new trailer, maybe.
And I had my wisdom teeth taken out.
Good for you, Glock.
Oh, Glock, I thought you were waiting on taking your medicine.
I think the 800 milligram ibuprofen plus the 500 milligram Tylenol kind of boosted
Ibuprofen
everything.
and Tylenol do not make you stupid.
I don't know. All I know is
I
feel
know from
more
experience that it does not make you stupid.
Giggly. I don't know. I feel more giggly, and I don't know why.
Oh, I was about to say, if something makes me sleepy, it makes me just as stupid as well. Because I lose all sense of
Hey,
coordination.
at least I'm not on the oxycodone.
Not yet, anyhow.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna try to keep
Ow,
this as short
that
as
hurt.
possible because I'm gonna try to frame this video as if you're excited for Kingdom Hearts 3, but you have not touched the series at this point, which God help you if you try to go into Kingdom Hearts 3 with zero knowledge of anything, because yeah, that's not gonna work. You are going to be lost within the first 5 minutes of the game. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to try to explain, at the very least, the important things from each of the 7 games before, so you can go into Kingdom Hearts 3 with the most important knowledge possible. Before we get into that, I guess we can touch on your guys' experience with Kingdom Hearts. I don't know which one of you want to go first.
Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, that's it.
Good. Oh goody, you've touched only 2 of the plot-relevant ones.
Pardon me.
Although, I never finished, I think it was 2.
I have seen parts of the GBA one be played, but I've not seen it in its entirety, so...
Chain of Memories. So you're probably extremely confused of what's going on, because Chain of Memories is a direct sequel to Kingdom Hearts 1. And deals with things coming straight out of that game. And also sets up Kingdom Hearts 2. So if you've ever wanted to know why you're playing as Roxas for like the first hour of that game, you play Chain of Memories, and then everything becomes clear.
Maybe that's why I was so confused playing 2. I was wondering why Roxas, yeah.
Don't worry, there's more confusing things than that.
Okay.
Anyway, in me, I've played almost every single Kingdom Hearts game. I own almost all of them. I think the only ones that I don't own are
Oh crap, I got 2 missed calls.
358 by 2 Days, which is Roxas's personal story that isn't quite that important. And Chain of Memories, which is actually important. So, I'm going to try to explain this timeline in order, so it makes the most sense. Maybe?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay. Birth by Sleep. The PSP title that came out in 2010. That's also on Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD. So, Birth by Sleep is about, what was it? I think it's like 10 years prior to Kingdom Hearts 1. Yes, 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1. So, put that in your minds.
Come on, you should know all this stuff. You're the one teaching us.
Yes, I'm reading off the wiki pages because I'm not doing this in notes.
Okay.
So, 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1, keep that in mind, Glock, we're looking at the adventures of three Keyblade wielders, Terra, Aqua, and Ventus. If those names sound familiar, that's because it's the same naming scheme as Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Land, water, air. Also, Ventus looks exactly like Roxas. Why? I'll explain that right away. So, before the events of this game, Ventus, aka not Roxas, was apprenticed to Master Xehanort, who is the main bad guy of the entire series at this point. Think of him as the old man. He's an old hunched over man who's stupidly powerful. We're talking Bono level powers, or Bono level of bullshit power.
Wow.
If to compare it to Drive.
Oh wow. Which Glock's in the dark right now.
Glock, Xehanort is essentially OP incarnate in Kingdom Hearts. He is the most powerful thing. He one-handed, hunched over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, whoops the ass of all three of these guys at the end of the game, pretty much.
Oh. Anyway,
Master Xehanort is trying to create the Keyblade, not Keyblade as in K-E-Y. No. Key as in the Roman letter key, X. Because that will lead him to Kingdom Hearts, which is essentially a big power thing that's not really been explained that much and has shown up a couple times, but it's not really Kingdom Hearts. It essentially will lead him to unlimited power and lets him be, have everything, essentially.
So it's his ultimatum.
No, it's the thing he wants.
Oh, okay.
Like, he truly, desperately wants.
Sorry, I zoned out because one of my friends was asking about a project we've got to do, class for forensic science, and I was like, look, I don't care. I'm in pain. Do whatever you want.
So yeah, the Keyblade, or as I'm going to refer to it now, the X-Blade, to avoid confusion, the X-Blade will grant one access to Kingdom Hearts and all of the power in there. Xehanort wants this. Now, the only way to get the Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts is to have pure light and pure darkness fight each other. It's through this clash that the Keyblade, or the X-Blade, I'm not even getting it wrong now, will be born, and the door to Kingdom Hearts will open. Now, a long time ago, a Keyblade War broke out that originally led to the forging of the, involved the X-Blade in Kingdom Hearts, and shattered the X-Blade into 20 pieces, 13 darkness, 7 light. That's important later. And head Kingdom Hearts away. So, Xehanort had Ventus tried to fight Heartless. That wasn't working. So he decided to rip out Ventus's darkness and create a being known as Vanitas. This kind of fucked up Ventus, because you can't just rip someone's darkness out of them. Essentially, it almost kills Ventus. And Xehanort going, well, you're useless to me now, drops him off on Destiny Islands, which is where he's from, by the way. And just plans to just leave him there. Except, Ventus's heart comes into contact with Sora. And through this connection, Ventus's heart is repaired, kind of. It's essentially restored to a not near-death state, so he can live. Good news is...
Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
okay.
Go ahead.
So essentially Xehanort's being that douchebag at the party that doesn't want to get in trouble for you falling into the bonfire.
No, Xehanort is the one who fucks over everybody in the series at some point.
Oh, okay.
AKA, he's Bono of Drive. Is there something in the series that that has gone wrong for someone that you cannot connect to this man? Not really.
Wow.
He is responsible. Black, let me put it this way. Xehanort is responsible for everything that has happened in every single Kingdom Hearts game to date.
Everything?
Everything. Everything. Yeah, what happens in this game? Xehanort's responsible for it. What happens in Kingdom Hearts 1? He's responsible for it. Chain of Memories? Still responsible. 2? Still responsible.
Why has nobody shot this brick yet?
Because it's complicated. Now, this whole repairing of Ventus led to him losing his memories of everything that happened, so Xehanort's in the clear. At least for now. So he decides, well, I guess you're useful to me. Let me go drop you off at my buddy Eriquis's home, the land of departure, and yes, that is the real name of it. I'm not making up that name. It's a bit on the news. Who's also a Keyblade Master, with his 2 apprentices, Aqua and Terra.
Oh.
Now we fast forward to the start of the game. We have the Mark Mastery exam for Terra and Aqua, which essentially will test them to see if they can become Keyblade Masters. Xehanort sabotages this exam so that Terra fails, because he's trying to not succumb to the darkness in him, and Xehanort manipulates the test to where Terra is forced to at least show that he doesn't have full control of his darkness. Aqua becomes a Keyblade Master, and through Xehanort and Vanitas kind of manipulating things, have Terra go out after the Unversed, who are the main, I wouldn't say bad guys, but they're like the not Heartless of Birth by Sleep, because we technically don't have Heartless yet. Really. The Unversed are born of negative emotions instead of the Heartless being hearts without a body. Anyway, Terra and Aqua are sent after it. Terra goes off. Ventus follows because he wants to warn Terra about Vanitas. And Aqua is sent out again after the Unversed, while also having to keep tabs on Terra by orders of Eriquis, because he's like, keep an eye on him because I don't trust his darkness, because Eriquis is very, very paranoid about darkness.
Because darkness.
Exactly. So thus the events of the entire game play out, blah 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 blah. Oh, by the way, Mickey's around here. Mickey is a part of these events as well, but not as King Mickey, as Apprentice Mickey, as he's still apprentice of Yen Sid, essentially the old magician guy from a Disney movie. He's a retired Keyblade Master. But Mickey's also on his, I think technically he's on the Mark Mastery exam, and going up against the Unversed right now. But anyway, through the adventures, various things happen. Terra comes into contact with a lot of Disney villains, fuck shit up, because he's an idiot. Aqua has to fix a whole bunch of stuff. Ventus just kind of goes around doing things.
That was so straightforward.
All 3 of them, well, 2 of them at least, come into contact with Riku and Kairi. And they pass on the ability to wield a Keyblade to them, because apparently if you touch a Keyblade wielder's Keyblade, and of their consent, you can then gain the power to wield a Keyblade. Kairi does this on accident with Aqua in Radiant Garden, which is also known as Hollow Bastion. I'm not sure if we got that far in Kingdom Hearts 2, Glock.
Yes, I got as far as Hollow Bastion.
Okay, so Hollow Bastion is technically Radiant Garden at this point. And Kairi is in Radiant Garden because that's where she's from before she ended up in Destiny Islands through means I don't know of. And Terra passes on the ability to Riku, and Sora technically already has the ability because of, you know, harboring Ventus's heart to help save his life. So essentially it sets up the fact that all 3 of them will be Keyblade wielders in the future. Anyway, Ventus eventually finds out about what Xehanort did to him through Vanitas, and Vanitas also tells him, you know, Eriquis also knew about that, which leads Ventus back to the land of departure to confront Eriquis about this. Terra is told by Xehanort, because Xehanort's been missing missing this entire time, and they've been sent to also find him. And Xehanort has been whispering into Terra's ears to give in to his darkness and, you know, balance it out with his light and do all this other stuff that will totally not fuck him over in the end, because I'm totally not the bad guy.
I'd believe him.
So Ventus and Eriquis end up fighting because Eriquis is like, he wants to use you to create the X-Blade. I'm gonna fucking kill you because I'm not gonna let that happen. Yes, that is his legitimate answer to this. Did I mention Eriquis is very paranoid about the darkness? So, Terra ends up arriving in the middle of this fight, teleports Ventus away, battles Eriquis, beats him, which leads to Xehanort being able to kill Eriquis right then and there. And he tells him, oh, by the way, I'm the villain. If you want revenge on Eriquis, and if you want to bring me to justice, come to the Keyblade Graveyard where the Keyblade Ward happened that I mentioned earlier, and fight me. Bye!
What a douche.
Ventus ends up meeting Vanitas, and Vanitas tells him the same thing. Aqua meets with Yen Sid and finds out, oh, Eriquis is dead. You should probably go to Keyblade Graveyard because that's where Xehanort is, because Yen Sid knows all. So the three of them end up at the Keyblade Graveyard. And Glock, have you seen the secret movie from Kingdom Hearts 2? The one with the three the one with the three armored people with the capes?
No.
Oh, I was about to say, that's the end of Birth by Sleep. Like the Final Mix version of that, that's the end of Birth by Sleep, just about.
Okay.
Yes, the secret movie for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix is the end of Birth by Sleep. A bit odd. Anyway, so the three of them end up fighting Xehanort and Vanitas. And essentially what happens is, everyone gets fucked over into some capacity after this point.
Of course.
Terra ends up getting possessed by Master Xehanort, who uses his Keyblade to release his heart, to go into Terra, and to combine the two of them together into Terranort. But Terra's discarded armor, because all three of the Keyblade wielders have armor. Terra's armor reforms into like a human body, and if you've seen the Lingering Will boss, Glock, that's Terra's armor. I don't know if you've seen that boss. That's a secret boss of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
So yeah, the armor ends up defeating the Terranort fusion, essentially knocks them out. Ventus and Vanitas fuse together, and are eventually able to form a incomplete X-Blade. But due to Aqua fighting Vanitas and Ventus fighting Vanitas on the inside of his heart, the incomplete X-Blade is shattered. Unfortunately, in the process, so is Ventus. He is nearly dead again, and even closer to death this time. So his heart retreats back into Sora's heart and has been there through all the games. And has left his body into just this comatose state. Aqua is okay for now. But after, I say for now. What?
What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna switch to my other headset, and I'm gonna lay down, but I'm gonna listen to y'all. If I pass out, I apologize.
No,
I do not feel hot right now.
We can probably record this in parts and just splice it all together. Anyway, I'll continue. So, Aqua ends up...
Go ahead.
Say again?
I said go ahead.
Oh, okay. Aqua ends up finding Ventus because when the X-Blade shattered, it sent them all, everyone involved, like Mickey, Aqua, Terra, Nort, Ventus, like flying in all directions across the universe, essentially. Across all the worlds, and eventually Aqua finds Ventus, drops him off at the land of departure, which she turns into Castle Oblivion to protect Ventus until he wakes up. Because he's in a special chamber somewhere in Castle Oblivion, which is the setting of Chain of Memories. So the one game you've seen, Tommy.
Okay.
She ends up tracking down Terranort at Radiant Garden, who's only got like half of his memories. The two of them get into a fight. She beats him, but Terranort ends up sinking into the darkness. And by into the darkness, I mean the realm of darkness, because there are realms of darkness. There is a realm of darkness, just as there's a realm of light. In the realm of light, I mean everything you see in Kingdom Hearts is pretty much the realm of light. But in sinking in the realm of darkness, Aqua tries to save him, ends up sacrificing herself by using her armor and her Calibre to send him back to Radiant Garden, and completely wiping his memories in the process of doing this on accident. She sinks into the realm of darkness and is essentially stuck there through all the games. Meanwhile, Terranort becomes an apprentice to Ansem the Wise. You know, that guy who's important to Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. And takes on the name Xehanort. And that pretty much takes us through Birth by Sleep. We good so far?
I think so.
Black, we good?
Kinda got his mic muted and Crackles is in existence.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
So we might... I don't know if we'll hear from him or not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. We heard from you.
So that finally brings us to Kingdom Hearts 1, 10 years later. As Sora, Riku, and Kairi are on Disney Islands trying to make a boat to leave because they want to go exploring. And by exploring, I mean go explore other worlds. Because they kind of just assume there's existence of other worlds. The island comes under attack from the Heartless, and that leads to Riku being corrupted by the darkness, and thus losing his ability to wield a Keyblade. That Keyblade he was supposed to wield, the Kingdom Key, ends up going to Sora, and Kairi ends up, something happens to her that causes her to become unconscious. Her heart ends up in Sora for the duration of this game, just about. And the three of them are separated, Sora ending up in Traverse Town, Riku ending up with the bad guys, kind of like Terra from Birth by Sleep, and Kairi is just comatose somewhere, not doing much for most of this game. Donald and Goofy, mainstays of the Disney universes, are essentially... I think Goofy's technically a knight under King Mickey at this point. But Donald is a mage under King Mickey because Donald uses magic. And yes, he still has his normal voice when he's saying the magic spells. As hilarious as it is. Also, imagine Goofy as a knight. Or a guard. Goofy. A guard. Anyway, they end up being sent by Mickey, who has left his home because he's off to do other things at the moment. He's left the two of them in charge of finding the wielder of the Keyblade, essentially. And they end up running into Sora at Traverse Town, and because of the King's message, and Sora looking for his friends, the three of them join together, and we have the adventure of Kingdom Hearts 1, essentially. And throughout the events of Kingdom Hearts 1, Maleficent is in coordination with other Disney villains, are trying to unlock, or trying to get the Heartless into the various keyholes to the hearts of the world with the Heartless, because they're bad guys. They want to control the world with darkness. So And when I say heart, essentially take that as soul, I think, would be a correct explanation of what heart means in Kingdom Hearts. Because essentially heart means soul, I think, with how they use the term in the story. So, that's my interpretation, is that a heart is essentially one's soul. They don't say soul, they just say heart.
Well, if they said soul, that would make things a little more darker.
To be fair, from what I just described with Birth by Sleep, we're already in some dark territory.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this at least can make it sound not as bad.
Right. Because, you know, we don't want this whole Final Fantasy Disney crossover game to not be dark. Oh, by the way, in Traverse Town, Sora runs into Leon, aka Squall from 8, because Squall is renamed Leon in the Kingdom Hearts because reasons. Aerith, who's alive because
reasons.
And Yuffie, because apparently Leon likes to hang out with the Final Fantasy VII crew because Cloud is off being grouchy about Sephiroth all the time. And Tifa's not in the game is not around until Kingdom Hearts 2, I think. Anyway, fast forwarding to the end of the game.
And Cloud sucks. Zack was way better and Zack should have been there.
Oh, Zack's in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, Birth by Sleep, but he's not in frickin' 1 because, you know, everybody hates on Zack even though Zack was far better than Cloud. Screw Cloud.
To be fair, Glock, I don't think... When did Crisis Core came out?
Crisis Core came out on the PSP in like 2000 something. I can't remember.
I was about to say, well, depending on when Crisis Core came out, Zack may or may not have been really important enough to be implemented in the Kingdom Hearts. Just saying. Anyway. Fast forward to the end of the game, because essentially it is just if I were to explain anything at this point, it would just be explaining what happens in all the worlds. And I'm just trying to touch on the main point. So we're just going to fast forward to Hollow Bastion, where Sora, Donald, and Goofy are trying to go after Maleficent to rescue Riku from being corrupted by darkness. Too late, he is. Riku, at this point, does take control of Sora's Keyblade, because, again, he does have the ability to wield a Keyblade. Although he doesn't have his own Keyblade at the moment. I say at the moment. Because he's still corrupted by darkness. This leads to Donald and Goofy leading going with Riku for a bit, because, you know, they're ordered to follow the key, not the Keyblade wielder. Technically. But the three reconcile, they fight Riku, they find out that a being known as Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, remember, specifically that subtitle, is the one pretty much behind all of these events. He was a former apprentice of Ansem, of someone known as Ansem, or I'll just explain this now. He is Xehanort's Heartless, Terra Nort's Heartless. Because what ended up happening is Ansem the Wise and all of his apprentices, between Birth by Sleep and this game, were researching the Heartless. And his apprentice, Terranort, essentially rallied the apprentices, banished Ansem the Wise into the realm of darkness, researched the Heartless, ended up turning all of them themselves into Heartless, and in the second game, Nobodies. As introduced in the second game, Nobodies. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, is Terranort's Heartless. He is not Ansem the Wise. So consider him Seeker Ansem, not Wise Ansem. If that makes it less confusing. And he's the one responsible for the events of Kingdom Hearts 1. Therefore, Xehanort is responsible for what happens in Kingdom Hearts 1. Don't worry, he's also in 2.
Oh god.
Or not Seeker Ansem, but the Nobody.
Huh.
Anyway. Riku is possessed by Seeker Ansem. And Seeker Ansem heads off into... I think he heads off into the realm of... Or heads off into something. Let me see if I can read this here.
Question.
What?
Are you running through the wiki articles?
Yes.
Okay. At least I know I'm following through with you then.
Oh, I'm on the Cage Wiki one, so... Sword and Gooey beat Maleficent. Also, by the way, the Princesses of Heart have all been captured at this point, which Kairi is one of them, because reasons. All of the others are Disney princesses. That was another point of the Kingdom Hearts series. Don't worry, that's not that important in the long-term game. Also, there's 7 of them. There's that number popping up again. But Riku, Sora fight. Sora pushes off Riku, but Ansem takes him over, heads off to somewhere, I don't remember where. But this leads to Sora realizing that he has Kairi's heart in him, and he uses the not real Keyblade that Riku had in their fight to unlock his heart, to release Kairi's heart. But this turns Sora into a Heartless and creates a nobody, aka Roxas, who looks exactly like Ventus. Because, remember, Ventus's heart is in Sora, and when Sora released his heart, he kind of technically released Ventus's, and it ended up going to his nobody, kind of. Or at least it influenced his nobody into not looking like him, and looking like Ventus. Because, really, a nobody is really supposed to look like the original person. There's only a couple exceptions to that, and that's Sora and Xemnas. Or Sora and Terranort, and that's because of their unique situation. Anyway, so Sora gets turned Heartless. He gets turned back to normal by Kairi because magic. They follow Ansem. They end up at the end of the world, which is combined fragments of the world taken by Heartless. They fight Ansem. Ansem thinks he's found Kingdom Hearts. He's not. He's technically found the door to light, I believe, or the door to, I think it's the door to darkness is what he technically finds. And after defeating Ansem one last time, Sora, Donald, and Goofy end up having to close the door from one side while Riku and Mickey close it from the other side. Mickey using the Kingdom Key D, which is a palette swap of the Kingdom Key Sora has, to close the door. But in the process, Riku and Mickey are locked on the other side in the Realm of Darkness for a little while. The 3 of them eventually resolve to find the 2 of them, while Kairi is sent back to Destiny Islands to not be important for a while. The end of the game ends with Pluto delivering a message to Sora, Donald, and Goofy, which leads into Chain of Memories. So, still good?
Yeah.
Alright. So that brings us into Chain of Memories, which is a direct follow-up to this. How to explain Chain of Memories. Sora gets screwed. Sora gets screwed really hard. Riku kinda end up good after this, and we essentially set up for the worst tutorial possible in any game.
Oh god, really?
Yes, because of this game, you have to play as Roxas at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, and Roxas is not that good. He really isn't. And you play that tutorial for a good long while. When I said an hour, I'm not exaggerating.
Oh jeez.
That's a pretty long tutorial. So, the message from Pluto leads our 3 heroes to Castle Oblivion, which I mentioned before. And leads them directly into a trap. Because a group of people known as Organization 13 are the ones who have taken over Castle Oblivion. And they're using it to siphon off Sora's memories with the help of a girl known as Naminé, so they can turn Sora into their puppet. Essentially, throughout this game, Sora is essentially having his memories subtly corrupted, and instead of remembering Kairi, he remembers this chick called Naminé, who's technically Kairi's nobody because of the events of Kingdom Hearts when Kairi's heart went into Sora. That technically created a nobody, but it didn't create a Heartless because she doesn't have darkness because she's a Princess Heart. All Princesses of Heart have no darkness in them, so they're pure light. Makes sense, right? And Naminé has control over Sora's memories because of the strong connection Sora and Kairi have. So that's about as close as an explanation you're gonna get from me.
I can see that, actually.
So, by the end of the game, Sora's memories are so jacked up and so screwed. Naminé has to put him in a chamber so that his memories can be, like, figured out, can be resorted back to their original state. Because again, his memories have been screwed. Because throughout Chain of Memories, you revisit almost every single world from Kingdom Hearts 1, except for Deep Jungle, because Disney lost the rights to that, and Sora didn't revisit Deep Jungle doesn't exist.
Is it sad that I came up with a really sad joke to that?
What?
She has to put him in the chamber so his memories can be recoded.
Recoded happens after Kingdom Hearts 2, so...
I know.
Anyway.
But it was funny.
So, anyway. So, Sora's out of commission from here till some part into Kingdom Hearts 2. Because his memories are having to be resituated. Also, because of this process, Sora will lose all memories tied to Castle Oblivion. He'll have no idea what happened there until I think some point in Kingdom Hearts 2 when he finally kind of remembers what the fuck happened. So, yeah. Also, at the same time of this, Riku is in Castle Oblivion with King Mickey as they're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. They find Ansem, who's the wise Ansem, not Seeker Ansem, in the guise of Diz, and they're trying to take on Organization 13. Oh, by the way, half of Organization 13 is dead by the end of this game. Don't worry about that part. So yeah, essentially by the end of this game, Riku and Mickey are now working with Diz to try to get Sora's memories back in order. Sora's asleep. Naminé is working with the 3 of them as well. And Riku's also kind of trying to overcome the darkness in him, so he's kind of fighting the shadow of Seeker Ansem that's in him, because that's a representation of his darkness. Because, you know, Seeker Ansem possessed him and all that stuff that happened in Kingdom Hearts 1. Don't worry, that's gonna haunt him until, really the entire time. Now, this technically brings us to a game that's actually happening at the same time as this, and that's 358 by 2 days, which is Roxas' story. Because technically this game starts the moment Sora became a Heartless. Because when you are consumed by darkness, your heart goes into a heart. You create a Heartless that has your heart, your soul, and you have a nobody, which essentially is your body. But without a soul or a heart or anything. So, Roxas is born at that point, and 358 by 2 days is happening at the same time as the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 in the events of Chain of Memories, and continues on right up to the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2. Essentially, Roxas is working with Organization 13, which is comprised of a bunch of nobodies, led by a man named Xemnas, who's the nobody of Terranort, and is also using Ansem as his name because he's an asshole. Because here's the thing about all the Organization 13 members. All of their names are just an anagram of their original name with an X. So Roxas is just an anagram of Sora with an X added, which was given to him by Xemnas. Throughout this game, Roxas has a budding relationship with Axel, who's important, as he's one of the major players. He's a major player in Chain of Memories, as he's the one kind of killing some people because they are betraying the organization. He also kind of grows a heart, because technically nobodies can do that, which makes him really confusing. But the two of them form a relationship, and they also form a friendship with a girl by the name of Xion, who is the 14th member of the organization. Technically. And throughout the game we find out that Xion can wield the Keyblade just like Roxas can, because, you know, Roxas is nobody of Sora, meaning he can still wield the Keyblade because he's still a part of Sora. But there's the question of why can Xion do that? Well, by the end of this game we find out that Xion is essentially a clone derived from Sora's memories, who looks like a black-haired Kairi. And either she or Roxas are going to be their puppets of Organization 13 to gather together hearts, to create Kingdom Hearts, and to obtain ultimate power, because that's what every villain does. It's also important to know that Xion's name, it's actually technically number I with an added X, imaginary, meaning non-existent. Also, depending on the person, she looks different to them all. Like, Axel sees her as just somebody with a cloak on, because all of the organization members wear these fancy black coats with hoods. He just sees her as having that hood on all the time. Roxas eventually sees her as the black-haired Kairi. Xigbar, who's someone who's been around since Birth by Sleep, as Breg, and has been essential to all of Xehanort's plans through all this nonsense.
Wait, who is Axel an anagram of?
Lee.
Oh, I see, okay.
I believe Lee makes a cameo in Birth by Sleep, along with some of the other organization members.
Uh-huh.
Like, some of them make cameos. You find out that Breg's been, like, known Xehanort, like, since Birth by Sleep. When you see that game, and it's like, oh, you've been running with him, like, ever since the beginning. And you're also an asshole. But yeah, Breg sees Xion as Ventus. So, yeah. But by the end of the game, Xion ends up dead. I think she ends up, like, dying to Roxas in a fight between the two of them. And when she goes, anyone who's had memories of her, or knew her, lose their memories of her. And this eventually sends Roxas into a furious rage, because he's had enough of the organization essentially pulling him, and using Xion, and he quits. Thus leads to the secret movie from Kingdom Hearts 1, if you've seen that one. You know, the guy with the Oathkeeper in Oblivion fighting the guy with the blindfold? I don't know if you've seen that. Glock. No waiting for a response.
I don't even think he paid attention.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
I'm having to move across the entire room and then move the mouse and everything, so...
Oh. Well, if you remember that secret movie, that's the end of 358 by 2 days.
Yeah, okay. That makes more sense then.
But yeah, because of Xion essentially dying in Roxas' arms, and the memories that Xion had of Sora going back to Sora, like, he gains the ability to wield two Keyblades at the same time, Oathkeeper and Oblivion, which are the two Keyblades that Sora always has that represents Riku and Kairi respectively. Just kind of how it is. But yeah, he ends up fighting Riku, who's kind of been in the game in 358 by 2 days in the background, trying to get Sora's memories back from these two, because these two need to join back with Sora in order for him to be awakened. If they don't, Sora's not getting back up. Because they have parts of his memories. Like, when Sora became a Heartless and came back, he didn't come back whole. Because it's not how you come back. So, anyway. Riku is able to beat Roxas, but has to give into his darkness, essentially looking like Seeker Ansem from here on out. And Roxas is taken by Diz, put into a virtual Twilight Town, and thus begins the entire tutorial of Kingdom Hearts 2. Because Roxas is in there for the time being, so the memories can be extracted from him and put back into Sora. Slowly. Without him knowing. Because Ansem at this point is kind of a dick. Because he sees nobodies as literally no ones. Even though nobodies can grow hearts of their own, like Xion and Roxas did, to kind of become their own beings. Isn't that funny? Thus we get to Kingdom Hearts 2, where Roxas, essentially through the tutorial, finds out, oh, I was in a virtual Twilight Town. Oh, this guy's an asshole. Who the fuck's Sora? Oh, he's Sora. Oh, I'm a no. Oh. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to wake him back up then. And he has to come into fighting with Axel because Axel doesn't want Roxas to disappear, and he's also under orders from the organization to not let Sora wake up because no. And also to get Roxas back because Roxas is important to our plans, even though half our organization is dead at this point. Literally dead. But yeah, Roxas joins back with Sora. Sora is completely woken. Also, by the way, Donna and Goofy have been sleeping this entire time alongside Sora because we couldn't just send them off back to Disney Castle to do important stuff. They had to sleep with Sora. Just how it is. So, 3 of them, plus Jiminy, because Jiminy's been with Sora this entire time as his, record keeper, essentially. He keeps a journal of all the shit that goes on in this. But they wake up with no idea what the hell happened. With only a note in Jiminy's journal saying, "Thanks, Nominee." But they head out, they meet with Yen Sid, who's like, "You, Keyblade wielder, you must stop the threat of the nobodies. Here's some fancy new clothes, but you've kind of outgrown your old clothes while you've been asleep. Also, here's the ability to form change, like a writer. Bye." So yeah, the nobodies are in action alongside Organization 13, and Diz is kind of doing his own thing as well. Also, Pete's in this game because Pete's a comedic villain at this point. So, Organization 13 is essentially manipulating Sora to defeat Heartless so they can gather hearts at Kingdom Hearts at the world that never was. They end up capturing Kairi. Sora is trying to find Riku and trying to chase him down as he sees him as one of the black-coated people, and Sora, being an idiot, thinks that anyone who's wearing a black coat is a part of Organization 13, which is not true. Essentially, the black coat allows you to traverse between worlds using the Realm of Darkness as a shortcut. Because you can't just travel between worlds all willy-nilly, because that's all, like, darkness and stuff, and that's bad for you to travel unprotected. That's why, like, Terra, Aqua, and Ventus had to use their armors and Keyblade Guiders, which were their Keyblades transformed into vehicles to traverse them. And Sora has to use a gummy ship, which is essentially a spaceship made out of Legos, to traverse them. So, anyway. Sora and Riku end up at the world that never was, along with Kairi because she's been captured, because the organization wants a bargain, wants an insurance that Sora will play along with them, not kill any more of them, because like 3 more people end up dead by the time the end of the game happens. Well, it never was. Sora manages to reunite with Riku and Kairi, although Riku looks like Seeker Ansem, although he still has Riku's voice, which is weird. Naminé ends up fusing with Kairi to essentially become whole with Kairi. Also, Kairi at this point gets a Keyblade from Riku, who's just like, here's a Keyblade, go fight. Let's go help Sora. Diz, aka Wise Ansem, tries to use a machine that will digitize Kingdom Hearts. Mickey tries to talk him out of it, that doesn't happen. The machine eventually overloads, blowing up. This reverses the whole Ansem transformation for Riku, turning him back to normal, and that sends Ansem off to the Realm of Darkness to go meet up with Aqua later. Because Aqua's still roaming around the Realm of Darkness for 10 plus years now? Yeah. Sucks to be her, doesn't it? In the end, Sora and Riku are the ones that have to take down Xemnas solo. They end up stuck until they end up in the Realm of Darkness, separate from Ansem and Aqua, because they're off in another part of the Realm of Darkness, even though all 4 of them end up at the same beach at some point, or at different points. Because apparently everyone, if they go to the Realm of Darkness, ends up at this one beach. For whatever stupid reason. Apparently it's a major landmark there. They use the door to light to end up back at Destiny Islands, where Kairi's waiting. Kairi, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey are waiting for them, and all of them reunite, and essentially we're left with a happiness that, hey, everything's okay. Until they get a letter from Mickey telling them that, you know, shit's gonna go down in 8 years? Because Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2006, and we don't find out what that letter says, really, until Coded comes out. Which takes us to Coded. 2008. What's important about Coded? Okay, Mickey essentially digitizes the Jiminy's journal, because that's a thing you can do, and creates a digital world, which essentially tells him that, hey, there are hearts connected to Sora that are asleep and in trouble, and they need to be found and awoken. Probably should tell Sora about this. And that's the letter Mickey sends Sora to tell him that, like, hey, we need to talk about this whole hearts being connected to you deal. And that's it. You see why I tell you that Coded's not important, Glock? I just told you the end of the game, and that's all you need to know about Coded. Anyway, that finally brings us to our final game to talk about. Kingdom Hearts 3D. Where we finally continue the story of Kingdom Hearts. Because I'll give you a full list later, Glock, as I'll end with something along those lines. Anyway, essentially, damn it.
Essentially.
Beeps interrupting thought train. Okay. Kingdom Hearts 3D, well, it's called 3D, it really should be called 3P, as in Kingdom Hearts 3 Prologue, as this entire game sets up the events of Kingdom Hearts 3. Anyway. In Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora and Riku are brought to Yen Sid, and Yen Sid tells them, oh, by the way, Xehanort's back, because you killed Seeker Ansem, and Xemnas, Xehanort is back. Because if you kill someone's Heartless and Nobody, they are reborn. So we
that makes sense.
Yep. Because their heart is released and their body is released, so they come back together. And they're given new life. With all the memories of everything, all the shit that happened. To be fair, most people, when they turn to a Heartless, they turn just to a monstrous creature. It depends on how strong their will is, and that gives them a potentially unique Heartless form. That's what happened to Xehanort when he became Seeker Ansem. And that's, I guess that's all true for Nobodies as well. Anyway. So, because Xehanort's back in full power, because shit, Sora and Riku have to go under the Mark of Mastery exam now, so they can be prepared for Xehanort's return. Because Xehanort's back, not just back yet, or at least they don't think so. Problem, he already is, and he's already fucking Richard A. Yin Sid essentially sends the pair of them off into a... what was it? They essentially have to go off to these different worlds that fell into darkness but never fully came back during the aftermath of Kingdom Hearts 1. These are worlds that are still asleep. And they have to reawake these worlds. And that's their Mark of Mastery exam. Because the Mark of Mastery exam can be a lot of things. So, two of them head off to this Mark of Mastery exam that's immediately sabotaged by Ansem, because Ansem has the power to time travel. What? No reaction? Because apparently, let me read this just to make sure. Okay, essentially they go to either a sleeping version of Destiny Islands, or they go back in time to Destiny Islands to go into a keyhole that will allow them to access the sleeping keyholes there. But Seeker Ansem is there as he traveled back in time, or he's there as a Heartless form. Essentially as a pure heart with no body, because there are rules to time travel in Kingdom Hearts, and I'll explain these real quick, because you need to know the time travel bullshit in order to get what the fuck happened in Kingdom Hearts 3D. Alright, essentially, to time travel, you have to abandon your body and become nothing more than a heart. You can only go into the past. You cannot go to the future. You can either go to the past or return to the point you left. Can't change anything that is destined to happen, aka you can't change anything you know happened already, is how I interpret that. You can't know anything that you change anything that you know happened. When you go back, you don't have any memory of time traveling, but the events that happened do exist in your heart. So they kind of edge you towards whatever you wanted to do when you traveled back in time. Because that's what happens to Xehanort. And you can only travel within your own timeline. Meaning, you need to have somebody. You need to have yourself needs to be at the place you want to go to in the past. So if you're in the present, you want to time travel back to the past, to Destiny Islands, you have to been at the Destiny Islands at the time you want to travel to in the past. You just can't poof anywhere back in time.
So you're basically being forced to re-experience all your memories, because if you're going back in time, you can't change anything. So you're basically just re-experiencing it.
You can't change anything you know is going to happen.
But that's the thing. If you experienced it, then you already know everything that's going to happen.
Right, but you can set yourself onto a path to go towards the future that you know is going to happen, and you can give them a little help. Anyway. Anyway, hi, crack, hi.
So that I can actually talk.
Anyway, hi, crack. Anyway.
Hold on.
Anyway, this market mastery exam is already sabotaged by Ansem, as he essentially wants the two of them separated, because Xehanort, by the end of this game, reveals that he has a true Organization 13 that he has now gathered. This true Organization 13 is made up of either alternate timeline versions of himself, or people he has placed a part of his heart into, like Zigbar. And former Zigbar, aka Breg now, because he's a full normal person, and Isa, formerly Syax of Organization 13. Also, by the way, Seeker, Ansem, and Xemnas are back, because time travel. Also, there's a young version of Xehanort, who also has time travel powers. Who's a part of this organization. Essentially, this new organization are the 13 Seekers of Darkness, who will clash with the 7 Protectors of Light to reform the X-Blade to get Kingdom Hearts. Also, Xehanort knows he's going to win, because a prophecy from way back in the day during the Keyblade War says that when the 13 clash with the 7, darkness wins.
Boy, that's straightforward.
Yep. Also, guess who is 13? Now, Xehanort has gathered 12 of the 13. He needs a 13th, and guess who gets to be the 13th?
Roxas.
Nope.
Aww.
That was the original plan. That was plan B. Plan A was Riku.
So what's plan C, unless plan A worked out? Wait a minute, what?
You see, he wanted them separated because he wanted to weaken Sora's heart, because it's already being put on a strain, holding 3 hearts, having connections to 3 hearts already in the form of Ventus, Xion, and Roxas. He wanted to push Sora to his breaking point and have him essentially fall comatose, so that he can be very susceptible to Xehanort placing a piece of heart into him, thereby turning him into a Xehanort, essentially turning him to Soranort, and making him the 13th member of the Organization 13.
Soranort?
Yes.
Okay, then
I just made it.
Who the frick's anagram is that?
It's not an anagram, it's just a combination of Sora and Xehanort. Just like Terra and Xehanort form Terranort.
Oh.
It's not an anagram, it's just a fusion of words. Anyway, that happens at the end of the game.
That's lame.
It's not an official name. Anyway, Sora's essentially asleep. Riku ended up diving into Sora's dream, which is why he's separated from Sora at this point throughout the game, to try to save him. Didn't work. He ends up not being able to save Sora. And neither does King Mickey, as they both try to intervene and stop this. Guess who ends up saving Sora in the end, though?
Kyrie.
Nope.
Oh. Donald.
Nope.
Goofy.
Nope.
So is it anyone we know?
Yes.
Is it anyone that we would suspect?
Nope.
Okay, never mind, I give up.
Now, because all of the organization members have been defeated, they've all been reborn. Yeah. Axel, aka Lee, given new life, is the one who ends up saving Sora. And preventing Sora from becoming a full member of Organization 13 by taking on a piece of Xehanort.
So Axel's the good guy.
Now he is.
Yay!
And the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 when he turns over a new leaf, but anyway. So this prevents the clash from happening, and preventing both sides from having all their members. Because Xehanort also has Terra, who Mickey believes is one of the 7 when he's not. because when Mickey is informed of the whole 13 and 7 thing, he lists off all the Keyblade wielders he knows. So he or himself, Riku, Sora, and his 3 friends, which only gives him 6. So he's missing 1. But this essentially happens. The 13 Xehanorts all go back to their original timelines until they can once again come back together to fight the 7 and, enact another Keyblade War, essentially. Riku ends up diving into Sora's dream in order to rescue him, but as soon as he does, Sora wakes up. But he runs into a digital copy of Diz, aka Wise Ansem, who tells him, oh, by the way, here's data to find the missing masters. The people who are important to the plot now. Like, here you go. Bye. So, by the end of this game, Riku passes his Market Mastery exam, thereby becoming a Kalimia Master, because he also conquered his darkness because he had to fight Seeker Ansem himself in this game. By the way, that boss fight's fucking hard as shit. Sora fails. Don't worry, he'll be a Keyblade Master at some point in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3, because those fancy Keyblade transformations he does into all those cool weapons? Yeah, that means he's a Keyblade Master. That Tetsuya Nomura said that himself.
Okay.
So, yeah. But they have the information to find the missing masters. They know they need 7, essentially Keyblade wielders, to fight the 13 Darkness, and thus sets the stage for Kingdom Hearts 3. Xehanort and his 13 versus Sora and the 7. And guess who the 7 are?
Oh. Who?
Well, obviously Sora, as he's main protagonist.
Oh.
Riku.
Oh.
King Mickey.
Oh.
Not Terra, because he's captured by Organization 13 now, as Xehanort himself said.
Okay.
Ventus and Aqua.
Okay.
Lee, because he wields a Keyblade now, and he's winning her Keyblade training.
So wait, what happened to Axel?
Axel and Lee are the same person.
So wait, so he's not Axel anymore, he's Lee, because he turned over the new leaf.
Axel turned over a new leaf during the events of Kingdom Hearts 2, but ended up dying dying towards the end. But by him dying, he was reborn, because his nobody died, and so did his Heartless, whatever it was.
Okay.
But he remembers all the Organization 13 stuff because his memory's carried over. He's the same person.
Okay.
And Kairi, who's going under Keyblade training right now. That was the secret movie to reveal Kairi's going to go under Keyblade training under Yen Sid.
Okay.
And that's our 7. And our 13 are the people I mentioned plus whoever you want to be at the point, because I don't know. Because essentially all the people I mentioned were the ones that were shown at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3D. Everyone else had their hoods up. So I don't know. I assume most of them were organization members, or former organization members that are still allied with Xemnas. Or not allied with Xemnas, allied with Xehanort. Like, Breg and Isa. But I don't know. We won't know until Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. Sometime soon. So yeah. That is the Kingdom Hearts story from Birth by Sleep to 3D, and that's everything you probably need to know to go into Kingdom Hearts 3. I say probably, I don't know for sure. So, what do you guys think of this entire plot dump that you've just received?
At least you kept it simple.
I may have simplified it too much, but that's the main points. Like, you need to know, essentially you need to know the 7, and you need to know their relationships, and also why they were going to go after Xehanort hard, as they've all been fucked by Xehanort at some point. Because Sora has been separated from his friends too many times by Xehanort. Riku had to go through being consumed by darkness and having to fight all that bullshit for almost his entire time throughout this story because of Xehanort. Kairi has had her friends' lives turned upside down, along with her own because of this bullshit. Ventus and Aqua both lost good friends and have been stuck in bullshit situations because of this. V got turned into a nobody because of Xehanort. Because, yeah, that's how he became a nobody, is because Xehanort turned them all into nobodies, along with himself. Well, heartless and nobodies. And Mickey has lost good, had his friends Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, essentially almost killed by him. And his new friends. And his kingdom has been threatened. And all the other bullshit that's happened in these games, so yeah. Now, I know someone suggested that Terra's going to be one of the 7, but because of Xehanort's wording, I doubt that. I would think that Terra's just going to be an in-game goal for Aqua and Ventus. But yeah, that's also why I say, 3D is actually 3P, because it's an entire prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3. Because it tells you, hey, this is the 13, this is the 7, here are players for both sides. We outright tell you who the 7 are in this game, and we call it a day. And we'll catch back up with everything in Kingdom Hearts 3, where we finally end this. Because there will be no game between 3D and 3.
How do you know there won't be a game after 3?
Because literally, well, I can't say that. Well, here's the thing. All these games have been a part of what is called the Xehanort Saga.
Huh.
So technically there's probably a game after Kingdom Hearts 3. But we don't know, A, what it will be, B, what the story will be, or C, if it will still even involve any of these characters.
It'll be interesting seeing a game that doesn't involve Sora.
I don't know. I'm just gonna be like, fuck. So yeah, that's everything you need to know. Just about, maybe, hopefully. I hope. If you have questions, put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. But other than that, Glock, you said you wanted a list of games to play. If you want to know the best way to play these games for yourself, there's 2 options. One is to play all the games separately, in order, I guess. You can play them out of order, because Birth by Sleep is a little bit more... Well, it is a prequel. It's kind of a prequel that, knows you've played the games that are supposed to come after this, so it has these deliberate nods to everything going on before, or everything that's going to happen. So you have cameos from, Lee and Brig and several other Organization 13 members before they become really relevant. You have Kairi, Sora, and Riku all showing up, all 3 gaining the ability to wield a Keyblade in this game at some point. You have Ventus, who looks exactly like Roxas down to his goddamn color scheme. And I do mean down to his goddamn color scheme. So keep that in mind. But you can play them in that order. Or you can pick up the PlayStation 3 copies of 1.5 and 2.5 HD, as both of them, between those 2 games, you get 6 out of the 7 games. You get Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 in their Final Mix versions. You get Birth by Sleep and Rechain of Memories, which Birth by Sleep Final Mix, and Rechain of Memories, which Rechain of Memories is essentially the PlayStation 2 release of Chain of Memories that made it 3D, and essentially did 3D cutscenes for all the stuff, and had voice acting for the important bits from Chain of Memories, aka not the repeat Disney worlds. And it has movie versions of Recoded and 358 by 2 Days, which are 3-hour long snippets of cutscenes put together. Apparently the recoded one is better, as there's not a whole bunch of reading dialogue you have to do in that. But I haven't seen the recoded one. And that's like the least important game there is, so... Of course it gets the better movie. But yeah, if you want to go in order, it's Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, 358 by 2 days, Kingdom Hearts 2, and then Kingdom Hearts 2 Recoded is your best option, because technically Coded is a mobile game that came out in Japan. Recoded is the DS release. And then finally, Dream Drop Distance. But Birth by Sleep came out on the PSP, Kingdom Hearts 1 came out on the PlayStation 2, Chain of Memories came out on the GBA, with Chain of Memories coming out on the PlayStation 2 alongside 2 Final Mix. 358 by 2 days came out on the DS, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out on the PlayStation 2, Recoded came out on the DS, and finally, Dream Drop Distance came out on the 3DS. So if you play in that order, you are jumping between a multitude of consoles, and also a multitude of playstyles, because they all don't play the same. So yeah, any questions, any comments, any thoughts about all this?
I don't have any questions. I was, of course, I was kind of following along with you, so.
Yeah. What do you think of all this? Now that you've heard this long epic tale that it spans 7 consoles or 7 games, 2 portable devices, or 3 portables, 1 console, and 15 years, by the way. These games came out over the course of 15 years. This is a story, continuous story, that has been going on for 15 years, with only 1 direct sequel. Like, Jesus.
I know one thing, it makes me want to play them. It really does.
Yeah. Honestly, if you had a PlayStation 3, I would say go pick up 1.5 and 2.5 HD. That gets you 6 out of the 7, and you ain't gotta hop between fucking consoles like I do. Then all you have to do, because you have a 3DS, don't you?
No, not yet.
Okay. If you pick up 3DS, you can pick up 3D. Also, the great thing about 3D, it has what's called a Chronicle, where essentially it just explains all 6 of the previous games when they become relevant. Like, you just open up and there's these text boxes that just goes, alright, here's the important things from like this game, this game, this game, this game, this game, and this game. It just explains the story, and you're like, okay. But the problem is, 3D really, like Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be, wants you to know what the fuck's going on. Because you immediately open, I think, with Sora and Riku battling Ursula off the coast of Destiny Islands in the tutorial. And you have flashbacks that tell you why the fuck they're here. There's no explanation of who Sora and Riku are, what's going on. It's just like, Sleeping Worlds, you're gonna have the Dream Eaters helping you, go do this, bye. Also, there's this Ansem and Xemnas guy who you killed, but now Xehanort's reformed because you killed them, so yeah. Yeah, 3D is a hurl if you have not played the games before. Also, it's kind of hard. So yeah. Glock, you have any thoughts, questions, comments?
No, not really.
See how much you missed out only playing Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2?
Yeah, there was a lot.
You pretty much missed out on half the story.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Because the main thing I remembered was, I remember Sora going through all the worlds in the first one. And then I remember it's been a while since I've played them both through. I played them on the original console, so I remember Sora being trapped in the chamber, sleeping for some unknown reason. Roxas taking over for about, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour in game.
It's about an hour.
For me, it didn't feel like it was that long.
Depends.
Maybe it was just because I had played it before, so I was able to skim through it pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think on your first time through, that's like an hour, because you're going to be exploring and being like, alright, I want to explore with Roxas, who controls like shit.
Yeah.
But I get this cool final battle with Axel, and that makes up for it.
Yeah. Anyway, I remembered that, and then everything else was just kind of a blur, but I knew there was some kind of a need to understand that there was something else going on with the Heartless. Because of the fact that I knew that Roxas was a Heartless.
Yeah, but...
Or nobody. No, he was a Heartless, yeah.
Roxas was a nobody.
He was a Heartless, I thought, because Heartless have the ability to gain hearts.
No, nobodies have the ability to gain hearts.
Oh, crap, okay.
Heartless are the ones that consume hearts.
Oh, that's right, yeah, okay. Who was Sora's Heartless? Did Sora have a Heartless?
You control him in Kingdom Hearts 1. It's just a regular shadow.
I don't remember.
Do you not remember when you controlled the little shadow Heartless for a little while in Hollow Bastion?
Oh.
That is Sora's Heartless.
Okay.
And then technically Sora gains a Heartless form because of that. And the form changes. It's anti-form in Kingdom Hearts 2. Technically it's like a Heartless infused version of Sora.
Okay.
The only reason it exists is because of what happened, of his unique position of becoming a Heartless and then coming back without his nobody being destroyed. There's like residual darkness left in him because of that, I think. There's some explanation to that nonsense that I try not to think about. Because I don't know if they're keeping the forms for Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't believe they are. I think between the flow motion, the attraction motion, the Keyblade transformations, and God knows what else they're putting in Kingdom Hearts 3, there's no need for forms. Because that's another mechanic that they have to work in.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's the Kingdom Hearts timeline explained in I don't know how long it's been. An hour or so.
Yeah, about an hour.
That's Kingdom Hearts 3 timeline in an hour. It's not in 20 minutes like other people do, but I at least try to explain stuff.
True.
Anyway, if this idea becomes popular, I don't know what to do after this, because there's no other, like, large-ass game series I know by offhand that I could explain to people who may not have experience with it.
Could explain the entire Sonic universe.
No.
No.
No. There are barely connections between those games.
It's like there's groups of games that have connections, but then there's so much that is just not even connected that it's pathetic.
Isn't there a technically connection through the Need for Speed games? Technically?
The vaguest of senses, I think, from like Most Wanted through Carbon? Yeah. Like the vaguest of connections. Like, I think it's like offhand references is what connects those games together. But
I still say my favorite was Carbon because of the story and the way it was built.
Like, I don't even think Underground 1 and 2 were connected.
They weren't.
I think the PSP Carbon has its own complete separate story, I think, that has, like, nothing to do with the original Carbon.
It did. I thought it was stupid.
And then, like, the most recent Need for Speed games, I think one of them has a story, the other, I think the new most wanted game has no story, but anyway. Like, the other thing...
I feel like they're being stupid and just wanting to create, ooh, here's a car, go drive in the city, create mayhem, because, you know, we're burnout now.
Like, there's only two things I could think of I could explain that you two may not have experience with. And one of them I haven't played, which is the Metal Gear Solid series, and fuck that.
Oh my god, the Metal Gear Solid series, that was...
The Metal Gear Solid timeline. I don't want to explain the Metal Gear Solid timeline. That is a clusterfuck.
Oh,
like,
come on, it's not that bad.
That is a lot of shit to explain. You have to explain all these different factions, all these different people, there's fucking clones involved, and ghosts, and psychics, and like, no. The only thing it doesn't have is time travel. Which I'm surprised they haven't done yet.
They still have another game coming!
Yeah, I know Phantom Pain's like coming out next week, but no. There would be
we could explain the Fallout genre.
No.
Why not?
Like at that point, you can have fun with that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think y'all would enjoy the Fallout stuff. It's getting to the point to where everything's connected, so...
The other thing would be, like, to explain the current Pokemon Adventure stuff. Like, from the original Red and Blue all the way through to the most recent thing that's completed for me, which is... Black and White? Because X and Y is still going, Black 2, White 2 is still going, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is still going.
I could take over Dragon Age because I don't think Dragon Age Inquisition was their final game. I don't think they're saying that Dragon Age Inquisition is their final game. I think it's just saying that that's going to be the end of the timeline for that specific spot. I think they're going to go into the future with Dragon Age, or possibly come in with a new age. That would be kind of cool.
Well, anyway, we're done here.
Okay.
This may or may not be popular, who the fuck knows. That's the Game Arts Timeline, folks. And that's people who've not played... one person who's played Kingdom Hearts, one person who hasn't, who are now caught up, and so are you for the eventual release of Kingdom Hearts 3. Hopefully. Good night, everybody.
Hopefully.